Hey everyone, while Ford and Chrysler are doing who knows what, it's time to take a closer look at Chinese cars. There's already a lot of interesting stuff popping up there. Just a reminder, my name is Tyler. Let's figure out these automotive wonders together.
So, let's dive straight into what real Haval F7 owners are saying about their experiences, focusing on the 2022 models and, importantly, the downsides. We'll start with the exterior and interior, because that's often the first impression, right? The exterior styling of the Haval F7 is generally considered quite modern and sleek. Many owners appreciate the aggressive front grille and the overall sporty profile. The LED headlights are a common point of praise, offering good visibility and a premium look. However, some owners have mentioned that the paint quality could be improved. A few have reported minor chipping or scratches appearing more easily than expected, even with relatively careful driving. The overall build quality feels solid to most, but there have been some isolated reports of panel gaps being slightly uneven, which is something to keep an eye out for when you're inspecting a potential purchase. The size of the vehicle is also a talking point. It's a good size for a family, offering ample space, but some find it a little large. For navigating tight city streets, parking can be a bit of a challenge, especially for those not used to driving larger SUVs. Now let's move inside. The interior of the Haval F7 is generally well received. Many owners appreciate the spacious cabin, comfortable seating, and the generally upscale feel. The infotainment system is a key feature, and while most find it intuitive and responsive, there have been some complaints about occasional glitches or slow loading times. The quality of the materials used inside is a bit of a mixed bag. While the dashboard and door panels generally feel quite nice, some owners have pointed out that certain areas, like the lower parts of the cabin, use cheaper plastics that might feel a bit flimsy over time. The sound system is another area where opinions are divided. While some find the sound quality to be perfectly acceptable, others feel it could be significantly improved, particularly at higher volumes. Storage space is generally considered adequate, with decent-sized door pockets and a reasonably sized boot, but some owners would appreciate more cubby holes for smaller items. The overall comfort level is high for most, with plenty of legroom and headroom, even for taller passengers. However, some have mentioned that the seats could offer a bit more lumbar support on longer journeys. And finally, the overall feel of the interior is generally considered modern and stylish, but the longevity of some of the materials remains to be seen. We'll need more long-term reviews to fully assess that aspect. So, let's dive straight into what real Haval F7 owners are saying about their experiences, focusing on the powertrain and chassis. We're talking about the 2022 model year here, and remember, these are the downsides, the things people aren't always so keen to shout about. First up, the powertrain. Now, many owners report a decent amount of power for everyday driving. The engine feels responsive enough for city commutes and highway cruising. However, some have noted a slight lag in acceleration when you really put your foot down, especially when overtaking. It's not a deal breaker for most, but it's something to be aware of. A few owners have also mentioned a slightly rough idle at times, particularly when the engine is cold. This isn't consistent across all reports, but it's a recurring theme in some of the owner forums. Fuel economy is another point of discussion. While some owners report figures that are pretty reasonable for a vehicle of this size and power, others feel it could be better. The actual mileage achieved seems to depend heavily on driving style and conditions, so your experience might vary considerably. There have also been a few isolated reports of minor issues with the transmission, nothing major, but things like occasional jerky shifts or a slight hesitation when changing gears. Again, these are not widespread problems, but they're worth mentioning for a complete picture. Now, let's move on to the chassis. The ride quality is a bit of a mixed bag. Honestly, Many owners appreciate the comfortable ride on smoother surfaces. It's generally described as being quite compliant and absorbing bumps well at lower speeds. However, things change when you hit rougher roads or potholes. Here, some owners report a slightly jarring ride, with the suspension feeling a bit overwhelmed at times. This is particularly noticeable at higher speeds. The handling is another area where opinions diverge. While many find the F7 handles well enough for everyday driving, some feel the steering could offer a bit more feedback and precision. It's not exactly vague, but it's not the most communicative steering system either. There's also some discussion around body roll in corners, which some owners find a bit excessive, especially during more spirited driving. Finally, a few owners have mentioned some road noise intruding into the cabin, particularly at higher speeds on less than perfect road surfaces. This isn't deafening, but it's noticeable enough to be worth mentioning. Overall, the chassis offers a decent balance, but it's not perfect and has some areas where improvements could be made.